How's it going, friends, and welcome to the channel. In this video we are going to be looking at Gaahleri TurboX Mini. Now before we start this video, this has been sent to me by Gaahleri and they are also not paying me for this video, so all comments and thoughts of this product are all of my own, which of course means I'm not obligated to say anything. Other than it may hold my defence if I do not mention when questioned something which I may rely in court. Anything I do say may be given in evidence. So, on with the TurboX. This is a nice little mini compressor. Now obviously it's not going to have the same juice as the big compressors with the tanks, but this is nice for somebody that needs to move around a lot, maybe need to clear the kitchen table pretty much every 5 minutes, or even just doing some quick spray painting without really need to move everything all the way over to the spray booth. Now you can purchase this TurboX on its own, roughly retailing around about £50, or like this one which comes with the airbrush, you can get this at around about £80. So what do we get in the box? So we'll start off with these are our replacement O-rings for our airbrush. The airbrush that we get with this one is the GHAD39. Now I've used this particular one quite a bit. Generally use this one as my kind of like basing, priming and varnishing most of the time, but I've got another one for sort of lighter spraying with different needles. This one I believe comes with the 0.4, I think, on this one. In the little black box we have our power supply. Obviously for me it's a UK plug. Also tucked away in the box is a little airbrush stand which fits in the small hole in the bottom left of the compressor. Then of course we have the compressor itself. Now I will go into a little bit more detail in a moment with the compressor, but obviously has a little digital type display screen. We've got a little knob for our pressure. We've got a screw thread in the side there for airbrush, and tucked underneath that is the hose for said airbrush. And obviously we have our little instruction book down the side there, but everything we really need to start out. It's a very simple and easy thing to use. Obviously we just plug in the power supply in at the back. The switch up there actually is, for some reason I thought at the time was the on and off switch. It's not the on and off switch. It's just to give us different types of pressures where we want to use a finer needle or a larger needle. As you can see there, as I said before, the little airbrush holder there, which is a nice little touch, keeps everything nice and compact and all together. And then screwing the thread on for the hose. This doesn't come with a quick release. Maybe something that will be easily purchasable later on. Maybe would be actually nice within the kit itself. Personally I prefer that because obviously I've been doing it for a while. I have a few airbrushes and it's very nice to sort of quick and easily slip between the two. Obviously for this yourself, if you're going to use this as a new starter, this is more than adequate. As we have the knob on the front, that's not me, that's on the compressor. That obviously is the on and off, and as you've seen there will give you different pressures. You can do a quick press which will bump it up in about 3 or 4 stages, or you can just do it yourself by twiddling it up and down. At this point I'll leave the cheap jokes to you. But as you can see, it will give you a lot of control, very much the same as a large compressor, but obviously it's right to hand, right next to you on the workbench. And like I said, you've got the quick presses that will give you larger sort of boosts. This little number here is a temperature gauge, sorry. And this will, if it does get too hot, it actually has a cutout, and I'll use this for quite a while, and it does cut out, so that's good. Obviously we don't want a overheating or compressor. Before we get on to spraying, I'm going to just give you a couple of little tips on spraying without having stuff like a spray booth. Now with the lack of spray booth, obviously if you can have somewhere that's got plenty of ventilation, it's obviously a great idea, and using something like the box from the model to catch all the spray particles. Cheap plastic shot glass, you can get these by the shed load, relatively cheap, obviously great for mixing paints. A cup or a plastic cup I'm using in this case. for emptying out old paint and wash when we've cleaned our airbrush out, and also I'm calling it a spray jar because I've forgotten the actual term for it, but this is really great for blowing the paint through the airbrush into a container without it going all over the place. I will try and remember to leave a link, like everything else in this video, in the description. Now, because this isn't an average compressor, it doesn't have quite the continuous flow as you would from a normal compressor. So before you start putting paint through the airbrush, blow the air through first, because it has quite a sharp burst, and then it drops down to a level and then gives you a nice consistency, as you can see there. And with this one I'm using the Aventus. It has a 0.2 needle in, which does have a nice feathered line and works really well, which admittedly I was quite pleased and surprised about. And with that little testing, I was only a short snippet, I actually felt confident with it that I could just get on with using this on a proper model. Now, the paint will be patchy in this because that was part of the design of this build, but it worked really nicely. And again, even using the Aventus, I've got a nice, I was saying sharp because obviously it's a feathered line, but it's a nice sharp feathered line, nice and tight, atomized really well, which I wasn't overly convinced of when I first used it, and I was really pleased with the results. Now, I've used their airbrushes for quite a while now and I'm pleased with it. I had no real surprise that the airbrush would be fine itself, because again, it's pretty much a main staple use airbrush that I use anyway, but it says because it doesn't give you this continuous airflow, it actually gives us a really nice finish. And as it says, I was really impressed as how it handles with using a finer needle. If you'd like to see this build, this is the ICM Hadley Page Handham. I'll leave a link to this build in the description down below. So that leaves us with the overall sort of review of this unit. Now, I'm really pleased with it. I think it's really good. I think it's actually very good for starters, and again, people that have issues with space at the bench. And I'm particularly looking at you kitchen tabletop workers, because this is great. It's nice and small and it's very portable. The only thing I would add or like to see added to this is a finer needle, so you have the choice of a large and smaller needle, so you can do obviously different types of work, which I've fed back to Gaahleri themselves. The one thing I didn't feed back, which I know they will see this and they'll find out this way, maybe adding a quick release for the airbrush and the hose, maybe an idea. What that will do to the price point, I'm not 100% sure, but that's probably the only thing I would like to see within this bundle. But as an overall view, I'm really happy with this, and I think it's a great thing for people, again, like I said, that have very little space, next to none. And also for those like myself, which I will be using this for, is really small little paint jobs. Stuff like maybe just like, you know, painting a cockpit, rather than have to take that all over to the spray booth. I can just do it at my desk. Now, is that a bit lazy? Yes, it is, and I'm quite happy with that. Anything to make my life a little bit easier. As I said before, I will leave links in the description down below. There'll be also an Amazon link for the TurboX with a discount code which will give you about 10% off, and obviously that will help towards the channel as well, because I'll get a little bit kickback from that as well. Also, talking of discounts, if you go over to Amazon between the 23rd and 26th of June, they will also be having a sale there as well, so you can pick up some great deals on some of their airbrushes as well as a few other products. So don't forget to check out the description, links will be down there, and all I'd like to say is a massive thank you guys for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. Also, a big shout out to channel members. If you'd like to help support the channel further, there are links in the description down below. And if you haven't done so already, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, and I'll catch you again soon.